Welcome to American Time Machine, where we rewind the world around us to see what we've lost, forgotten, or left behind. Today, we're walking through 10 public places that slowly disappeared from everyday life. These weren't just locations, they were part of the rhythm of daily life, until slowly, they weren't. Video rental stores. There was a time when Friday night meant a trip to the video store. You browsed the aisles, judged covers, argued over what to rent, and hoped your movie was in stock. But with streaming services taking over, these once bustling stores became relics. The last blockbusters now exist more as nostalgia than business. Late fees were a rite of passage, and those plastic clamshell cases felt like treasure chests. Choosing a movie was an event, not a scroll. It took time, debate, and maybe a backup in case the new release was gone. Now entire catalogs are a click away, but something's missing. The glow of fluorescent lights, the smell of popcorn, the thrill of holding your Friday night in your hands. That's the magic we lost. Arcades. Long before consoles lived in your house, the arcade was king. You met friends there, battled for high scores, and fed quarters into glowing machines. But as gaming became home-based and portable, arcades dwindled. Some survive in retro bars, but the golden age has passed. There was nothing like the rush of lining up at Street Fighter or Pac-Man, surrounded by flashing lights and 8-bit soundtracks. It wasn't just about the games, it was a social scene, a proving ground, a place where legends and blisters were made. Now we play online with people across the world, but rarely face-to-face. Arcades may be fewer, but for those who remember, they were pure, noisy, joystick-smashing magic. Public phone booths. They were once on nearly every corner in every airport, mall, and gas station. Payphones were a lifeline before cell phones, used in emergencies or just to call mom. Now, they're rare curiosities, often missing receivers or covered in graffiti. Kids today might not even know how to use one. You always needed coins or a calling card, and memorizing phone numbers was a survival skill. There was a certain urgency in stepping into that booth, shutting the door, and hoping someone picked up. Today, we carry instant communication in our pockets, making payphones feel like relics from a slower, less connected time. But spotting one now feels like discovering a fossil, a public reminder of when being reachable wasn't guaranteed. Downtown department stores. Downtowns used to revolve around the department store. Elegant, multi-level buildings filled with everything from clothes to appliances. But with suburban malls and online shopping, these landmarks faded away. Many now sit empty or have been converted into condos, offices, or history museums. They weren't just stores, they were destinations, complete with elevators, holiday window displays, and cafe lunches. Shopping there felt like an event, a day out with the family, or a solo adventure through endless aisles. As convenience replaced experience, these grand spaces became too costly to maintain. Today, they stand as architectural ghosts, monuments to an era when retail meant more than a click. Train stations in small towns. In the early and mid-20th century, train stations connected communities. They were hubs of movement, commerce, and excitement. But as car travel and air travel took over, many smaller stations were abandoned. A few still run Amtrak, but many are silent monuments to a busier past. Once grand halls echoed with footsteps, announcements, and steam engine whistles. People met, parted, and fell in love under those vaulted ceilings and ticking clocks. Now, some stations have been repurposed into museums, restaurants, or event spaces. Beautiful if quieter than before. They remain symbols of an era when the rhythm of life was timed to the tracks. Public libraries as hangout spots. Libraries weren't just for books, they were places to meet, study, or just stay warm. They had bulletin boards, community programs, and the hum of quiet discovery. Today, some libraries are thriving, but many are underused, underfunded, or replaced by screens. Still, their role in public life is unmatched. They offered free access to knowledge no matter your income and a quiet refuge from the noise of the world. For many, a library card was their first key to independence, curiosity, and lifelong learning. Now, digital media has changed how we read and research, but libraries have adapted with maker spaces, Wi-Fi, and more. Even in the tech age, there's still something sacred about walking through those doors and getting lost in a sea of pages. Community centers and rec halls. Every town had a rec hall or community center where people gathered for events, classes, or celebrations. It was where you learned to square dance, vote, or play basketball. But with digital communication and shifting priorities, many were shut down or repurposed. Now, the idea of a town gathering place feels almost quaint. These halls once pulsed with life, potlucks on Friday, craft fairs on Saturday, town meetings on Monday night. They fostered face-to-face connection in a way group chats and live streams never quite replicate. As community life moved online, the need for physical gathering spaces declined. Still, their absence is felt, especially in times when people crave real connection, not just digital contact. Public swimming pools and bathhouses. Public pools once offered affordable summer relief for families across America, and earlier still, bathhouses served as the neighborhood hygiene hub. But rising costs, lawsuits, and privatization slowly drain these places of life. Many now sit abandoned, echoing with laughter from decades past. They were more than just places to swim. They were community gathering spots, lifelines in heat waves, and childhood memory factories. The smell of chlorine, the splash of cannonballs, and the distant call of a lifeguard defined entire summers. As private clubs and backyard pools grew more common, public facilities were neglected or shut down. Now, faded signs and cracked tiles are all that remain of spaces that once brought people together, one splash at a time. Mall food courts. For a while, food courts were the heart of the mall. They brought together all tastes, ages, and friend groups under one fluorescent-lit roof. But with mall traffic down and fast casual restaurants rising, many food courts now echo with emptiness. That signature smell of pretzels, fried rice, and chlorine? Gone. It was where teens hung out. Parents took shopping breaks, and free samples lured you into trying something new. Tray in hand, you'd scout for a table while pop music echoed off tiled walls and soda machines hissed nonstop. Now, many sit half-lit and half-occupied, victims of changing habits and online shopping. Still, for those who remember, food courts were a flavorful slice of suburban life, equal parts convenience, chaos, and comfort. Drive-in theaters. A true American classic, drive-ins offered a night out and a movie, all from the comfort of your car. Popular in the 1950s through the 1970s, they were perfect for families, groups of friends, and especially first dates under the stars. The giant screens, tinny window speakers, and concession stands were part of the charm. But as land values rose, cities grew, and home entertainment evolved, most drive-ins slowly disappeared. A few saw brief revivals during the pandemic, offering safe, nostalgic escapes. Still, their golden age is long gone, now remembered more for the experience than the film.